Yeah, so the main primary advantage of learning Python is either you can go like a Python full stack developer, or having the basics of core and advanced Python, you can go to the field of AI or data science. So the starting step of learning AI or data science is you need to have at least a basic understanding of the Python. That's the advantage what Python provides you. Big data analytics, you have lot of data, right? So for all that data analytics and other things, Python is very much used nowadays in the market because it process very fast. So not just like a job market is not just on a Python full stack developer, but you have multiple openings on Python. Like initially, if you want to go to Gen AI or AI ML, or you want to go to big data or data science, they ask the Python basics only. So initially to go, then going in detail, those are the different core subjects. But to start them, you need to have the basics of Python. So that's the main thing why people are nowadays preferring more on Python technologies. So that's the main advantage. And now, at least up from now to next at least 5 years, Python will rule the job market now because the entire AI is coming up on top of this Python skills only. So let's just see. Before that, I'm just sharing my screen. Actually, what Python, what we'll be learning on. Let us see what exactly is a full stack development, because the job what we are targeting in the market is a Python developer. So Python or a full stack developer. So if you're targeting a full stack developer, you need to know the end-to-end use cases and the what are the things it happens, means what are the things it uses. So what is a full stack development? A full stack development training program, it typically covers both front end and back end development. We generally focus on the skills and the technologies needed to build a modern, a scalable, and efficient web application. So, what are the stages you have a full stack development? You have front end technologies, you have a database, you have a REST API, you have a backend technologies. Some of the things use data structures and algorithms, web application architecture, and a Git version control. So all these things what includes a full stack development. So the layers in full stack development is the client side code, you have the browser, the server side code, the web server, the database, and operating system. Nowadays, none of the interviewer are leaving any of the this one like resources, just asking few questions. Earlier, like some 7 to 8 years back, if you're applying for a job as a UI developer, the questions were primarily focused only on the UI. If you're applying as a Java developer, the questions was only focused only on Java. They would have 2 3 rounds on Java. But now full stack developer, they are focusing everything. They are asking from HTML, CSS, JavaScript to how do you deploy your application on the cloud. Up to this they are touch basing. So as a full stack developer, we need to know all this basic stuffs. They won't go in detail. They go in detail only if you're applying for a job role or a senior software developer, or if you're applying for a technical lead whose experience is more than 8 to 10 years experience, right? For such people, they go in depth. They will ask the architecture, the design, why you use this, what will happen if I don't use this. All these cases they'll touch base. But if you're applying as a developer with 3 to 4 years or 5 years experience, right? They mainly focus on your coding skills. So what are the front end technologies generally? So front end technology generally includes HTML, a CSS, a JavaScript libraries such as jQuery, React, or Zepto. There are certain frameworks you have such as Angular, Vue, Backbone, and Amber, and also it's a Bootstrap. So these are all what includes is a front end technologies. So backend, there are different technologies. You have Ruby on Rails, you have a Python. So in Python, you have Django and Flask. You have PHP Laravel as well, but nowadays it's getting outdated. Java. Again in Java you have Spring and Spring Boot. Scala, it's a play framework, and you have a Node.js. So these are all the different backend technologies what you have in the job market. So then coming back to the up to the database, you have MySQL, a PostgreSQL, MongoDB, Couch, Redis Cache, and Neo.js. These are the different databases currently trending in the job market. So we will be mainly focusing on the MySQL database. And here we'll be mainly focused, our target of the backend will be Python, learning Python using Flask to build our APIs. And we'll be touch basing Django framework as well, how it will be both and how both are different. And when you come to front end, we are checking here, right? So in the front end, we'll be most focused on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and we'll be focusing much on the React.js. So what exactly is a front end development is? Front end development involves building the part of the web application that user interacts. Generally, the key technology and concepts are HTML. It's nothing but it's a hypertext markup language. So the basic structure of the web page will be something like HTML head, body. Then it have some elements. It have some semantics HTML tags like header, footer, article sections. Then some HTML5 features like local storage, audio, video. So all these things are involved in the front end technology, and we cover in detail how we write an HTML and how we all do this when we actually start dealing or actually start the training classes related to the HTML. Then we have a CSS. CSS is nothing but it's a cascade style sheet. So what we need to know is basic styling concepts like colors, fonts, the margins and paddings. What are the different layout techniques like flexbox, grid and positioning. And then the responsive design, how you will be using with media queries, animations and transitions. So all these things will be covering as a part of the CSS. But if you remember this, that we are our goal target job role is for a full stack developer. Major part of CSS and HTML is being concentrated if we are applying for a job role of UI UX designer. So if you are applying a job role of UI UX designer, then this part becomes very much critical. These things, because it's a designer job who can create a very beautiful and responsive HTML layouts. For us, when we are developing, right, we get the HTML and CSS actually from the designers. So generally, I'll just show one of the sample application. If you can see this, right, if there are some HTML files, so these were as per the requirement the designer has given me. So HTML and CSS. So using this, I developed a real-time application. So for us to start with, first we'll be understanding the basic of HTML and CSS and how a real-time project comes to us. So that means a real work, how you get from the clients, how the requirement comes, how we design them, or how we use the Figma. Using those things, we'll be learning during our training sessions. Then JavaScript, it's a mandatory. We need to learn JavaScript. We need to know all the basics, because without JavaScript, you cannot code your React as well. So what you learn in the JavaScript, you will be having a basic syntax, a variables, different data types, loops and conditions. You have a functions, you have objects and arrays, a DOM manipulation. How do you manipulate the DOM? Event handling in JavaScript, like click, hover, and submit. So ES6 features, we use lot of things like arrow functions, template literals, async and await extensively we used. Then how do you use a try catch block for error handling? Working with external APIs. And we work with the JavaScript framework completely using React. Yes, version control is the next one. We will be learning on version control like basic git command, because you won't be working a single user. You need to work as a team. In any company you go, you will be working in a collaboration. So during such times, how do you use a git to pull the project, to pull the code? How do you create a branch, push your code to your branch, raise a merge request to your leads, and how the code gets merged? All these things we will see in the git and git version control, how we can do. So backend development, generally they involves creating a server side logic and database management. So generally the key technologies nowadays trending to be used on the backend are JavaScript, generally using Node.js. We use the server side JavaScript. So generally when you're going with a Node.js, you use a technology or use a package called Fastify. It's very fast. Then you have Python. On Python, we'll be learning using either Django or Flask. You also have Ruby on Rails. You have a PHP. Nowadays, PHP market is very low, but still few of the old companies or small startups are using the PHP. On Java, it's have a strong background. So in Java, when you go, we use a Spring Boot. Then CH, if you learn CH, we use ASP.NET. So what are the APIs you develop? We usually develop a RESTful APIs. The concept of CRUD. What is CRUD is nothing but create, read, update and delete operations. So we use this using HTTP methods like get, post, put and delete. Then we talk about versioning or authentication. So any APIs, we need to use the authentication mechanism. So we generally concentrate on JWT. You have something called GraphQL as well, which is for faster response when compared to MySQL and MongoDB. So what exactly is a GraphQL? It's a query language for the APIs. We'll just have some basic understanding of GraphQL so that Python works very fast or very good with GraphQL. So we'll just understand what exactly is a GraphQL and how you can use with Python, because Python, data analytics or data science, they generally work on using GraphQL APIs. Then creating and handling endpoints using Express and Node.js or Spring Boot. So these are the one for the people who preferred for going for Spring Boot. So then databases, yeah, for there are two types of database you have. You have NoSQL database and you have relational database. So relational database, we generally have different one, Postgres, MySQL or SQLite. So generally we will be more concentrating on MySQL database. So where we learn how to create a tables, a relationship, how do you create indexes, how do you perform select, insert and update, how do you write a triggers, joins and all the things we'll be learning when we start working on the MySQL database. NoSQL, generally we use MongoDB or Firebase. It's completely document based. ORM, object relational mapping tools you have. If you're using a Node.js, they generally use SQLiz. If you're going for Hibernate, you can use MongoDB, you can use it Hibernate. SQLiz works with MongoDB as well. So database normalization optimization, we will be learning how do you do it. So generally, suddenly, suppose we have by luck or by something we have gone into a mid-sized company where you got a chance to work on a legacy applications. So when you're working on a legacy applications, right, you won't get the time to write a new code. They will be giving you the existing code, and most of the time they ask you to improve the performance or optimize the code or optimize the query where the performance improves. So how you do that? That also we should see when we are learning the queries and other things. If you're going to a scratch project or from a startup, you do from end to end. But even if they hire you, sometimes maybe depending on the project demand based on your skill set, if they put on your support project or on a legacy application where you need to work on only on few tasks like performance improvement on the back end, only you need to write the backend APIs, we should be ready. So authentication and authorization, what we do is we use a JWT token. So for stateless authentication. There are other third-party authentications as well, like using Google, like OAuth 2. Or if you are using a Node.js, you can use the Passport. So server management will be generally concentrating on the web server Nginx. So Nginx is something which we use for running a reverse proxy application. So server-side languages, either you can use Express, Node.js, Spring Boot or Flask. Flask is very easy, as one of the guy just now they have said, right? Learning PHP syntax or everything is easy. So Flask. This is what we'll be concentrating on building our server-side language. So DevOps, yeah. So DevOps is again a separate role or separate like a DevOps job, like a DevOps engineer job. That the role, a job code especially is there for them. It's a DevOps role. So for us, what we'll be doing is we will be learning basics of DevOps, like how do you deploy an application, how do you create a container, Dockerizing, all the things we'll be learning a basic. CI/CD, continuous pipelines, and other things are the job roles for the DevOps engineer. We will be concentrating mostly DigitalOcean and AWS works both the same. Even the Google Cloud, GCP, everything works on the same base, but only thing the UI, the layer of the UI is different for them. So we'll be mostly learning how you can deploy the applications what you built using the DigitalOcean. How do you deploy our applications? So full stack development workflows. There are different workflows you have. A tech stack. See, once we have a good grasp, like both front end and back end technologies, generally it's a time for us to combine them to convert a full stack web development. So what is that? We create both user interface as well as the server side backend along with managing the database. So what are the potential tech stacks you generally have is, these are the common full stack technologies like Mean Stack, Mongo, Express, Angular, Monstack, MongoDB, Express, React, and Node.js, Java full stack, React, Java, Spring, Hibernate, Spring Boot, and Cloud. So what is that we are going to target? Python, am I right? This is what is our goal, right? We are there for to learn this. Am I right? Am I audible, everyone? So that is what our goal, right? We are targeting Python full stack. So what we learn here? We learn HTML, we learn CSS, we learn JavaScript. So instead of all this, I'll put front end technology as React, core Python, advanced Python, Flask, and cloud deployment. This is what we need. This is what we are up to here to learn all these things. So this is what we are targeting or we are aiming at, Python full stack. So what is a full stack project is front end React.js for building UI components and handling state. Backend we generally use with Python. Database we generally go for, instead of MongoDB, or we go for MySQL for storing data. Okay. Authentication we go for JWT based authentication for secure login and sign up. Hosting generally, I said right, we will be going with DigitalOcean. So learning path, how do you learn? We learn the phase one is starting with HTML and CSS, then JavaScript fundamentals, version control like on the Git, how you do all the things, then JavaScript framework like React.js. Then we learn with other part, the backend Python Flask we learn along with core Python and advanced Python. We don't need Java Spring Boot since we are preferring a Python. Then on the database side, we learn MySQL. And we deploy the APIs what we build on the DigitalOcean cloud. So authentication and authorization, we use a JWT token to secure our APIs. What we do is once we learn all the things, we build a CRUD operation and a real-time project. So these are the same things. What is a phase 3 is nothing but building a full stack application. Like we have built our front end React, we have built our backend Flask application using Python. We need to connect both the APIs. So the technology or the skill set we use is a microservice architecture. Nowadays that is currently trending in the job market. No one is asking a full completely coupled applications. They are asking you, do you have an idea of a microservice architecture? So we use a microservice design to connect both the front end and the back end. Then deploy that application on your DigitalOcean server. So what type of applications we can build? We can build any type of web applications like this or a mobile application. Why? Because when we build a microservice application, the backend APIs can be consumed by any application, not just the web, but even the mobile applications as well can consume the same backend APIs. So once we learn the complete stack, right, we will be able to build this type of web applications using the Python full stack developer role. So we will be able to build this type of real-time applications. So just a second. So part of the program, part of the course, what we'll be learning, we'll see. So first we'll be learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React.js. Using this, we will in React.js we'll be covering part of Next.js. So Next.js is built on top of React.js, and it is more advantageous to use Next.js since its performance wise it's very quick, very fast as compared to React. So on top of React only, we have built the Next.js, or the Next.js has been built. Why? I will show when we are learning the Next.js. What's the advantage of it? When we learn this, we'll see. So why this arrow mark came? Okay. Using this, we will build a full-scale front-end application. It's only the front-end design. You can see this front-end design, right? Something like this. So using, once we have learned that, we'll be able to do this only front-end, not the back-end. Right? We'll be only doing this front-end things. So when we come to backend, then actually we start with Python. Here we learn core Python. So people say, what is the difference we learn, right? Core Python you have an advanced Python. Am I right? There are two things. Am I right? So what are part of core Python? So you will be learning just a few things to know more here. Introduction to Python. Then you will be learning introduction to scripts. So I know, right? I'll just write scripts. So in this script is like we learn what is a script, what is a program, type of a scripts and other things. Then environment setup. Then writing first Python program. Then you have basics. So in basics, what you have keywords, variables and naming conventions. Okay. Then you learn data types. Data types. So in data types, what you learn, will be learning static versus dynamic data types, type conversions, constants, number, sequence, set and map. Those things comes under data types. Then you learn about operators. Then we learn input output. So input and output is nothing but you have something called print, raw input, type, id, all those things comes under input output. Then we come to control statements. Okay. Then you have arrays. Arrays in Python. Then we learn about string and characters. Then you have functions. There are a lot of things in that. I'm not going in detail. I'm just saying an overview of what all you have. Like in functions, you define a function, function call, parameters, keywords and arguments, return statements, all those things inside a functions. Then you have a list. So inside list, you what we discuss or what we'll be learning is accessing a list, slicing, reassigning, deleting, multi-dimensional list, iteration, built-in functions. Then you come with tuples. So tuples is nothing but single item tuple, multi-item tuple. Again accessing them, packaging and unpackaging them, reassigning, tuple functions, all these things. Then you learn is sets. What is sets is you create a set, iterations, set methods, set operations, all those things you learn under set. Then you have dictionary. So in dictionaries, it's like again, we create a dictionary, keys, accessing them, reassigning them, deleting them. What are the built-in functions you have? Then you see about date and time. About how you use the dates, different types of dates you have, right? Duration, all those things we see there. Then you have a lambda functions. Sorry, LAMB DA lambda functions. So in lambda functions, we see anonymous functions, filter, map and reduce. Then you have modules. So here we see what is a module, types of module, import, reloading a module, all those things we see in a module. So these things covers you the core Python, right? Basic. Then when you come here, we will just see advanced Python. What is there in advanced? This is where is the main thing starts. Advanced Python. So in advanced Python, what we learn is we learn OOPS concept. So OOPS concept, you know, right? Classes, objects, encapsulation, inheritance, difference between object oriented and procedure oriented. All this comes under OOPS concept. Then we learn more about class and object. Then in detail, inheritance and polymorphism. Then what we learn more? Abstract classes and interfaces. Abstraction and interfaces. Then exceptional handling. Then we see the file operations. Right? Then we see how we use regular expressions. Then multi-threading. Multi-threading we'll see. Then networking. How do you, because Python is used everywhere, right? So we need to know all those things. Even in networking, we use Python. So we see how we can use it in network programming. Then database access. We learn GUI, means graphical user interface, like how you can create different widgets using Python. Then you have something called advanced concepts. So in advanced concepts, what we learn is we'll be learning Python iterator, Python generator, closures, decorator, installation of external modules using PIP, debugging, test case implementations, working with CSV, XML, and JSON. So all these things are the advanced concepts in Python. Then we learn about XML and JSON parser. Then here it comes a big part. The main bigger part is data analytics. So what is data analytics is, here we see introduction to big data. Okay, how do you use a big data? What is big data? And here we have few of the commands in Python like pandas, numpy, matplot library. So all these things are used for doing a big data analytics. Then the topic we learn will be data science. So data science in Python, what it is also used for? It's used for we'll see introduction to data science. Then we see data frames, data analytics command, data visualizations. In this we see different line chart, bar chart, histogram chart, and pie chart. So these things generally we use. Most of the companies, they need people who do data analytics and data science. They all use Python because you need to visualize and show the data in a charts. Then we do a web development. So in this, what we learn is we learn introduction to web application. What is the architecture of web application? We just see introduction to Django framework, like what is the history of Django framework designing, why Django framework, environment setup, MVC and MVT architecture, all the things. Then inside this only web development, apart from Django, we see introduction to Flask framework and what it is. Then you have few of the points like memory management, and garbage collection. So garbage after this, this part ends the advanced and core and advanced Python. Okay, we done with core. These are the topics we have done with the Python. Then what we'll be doing is we'll be learning on building APIs using Flask. Means we learn more detail about the Flask. So the next topic will be for us will be learning Flask. So all these things, right? All these topics we will be having exercise workbooks for each and every topic. I'll be after every session we will be sharing you the workbooks and using which you can practice at your side. So for each concept we'll be having each a workbook. Workbook is nothing but a Python file. For the concepts what we learn, the same thing with some real-time examples and little bit real-time more complex examples will be added to the workbook and shared to you, which you can practice. Once we are done with this, we will be learning MySQL database. How do you set up MySQL? How can you access all those things? We'll be learning MySQL. Then we have built the front end, right? And we are learning Flask to build the APIs. We are learning Flask to build the APIs, and using Flask we connect to the MySQL database, right? Then finally, what we do? Integrate the front end. Sorry, spelling mistake. Front end plus backend plus database, and first run on our local environment. So once these things are running, then we deploy them on DigitalOcean. This is what is our task. So generally a diagram will show how it works. So this is what we will be going to do as a part of our training program or as a part of a full stack developer. So React front end, Python Flask backend, MySQL database, you connect them, you deploy it on a DigitalOcean. The user browser interacts with the React code and again sends the response back to the browser. So this is how is a full stack design architecture. There are different architectures. This is a microservice based architecture. So just we are using a React front end integrating with different microservices like Python. What you build different microservices using the Python Flask. So like this I will be sharing you the practice workbooks. Okay, you can see this is one of the practice workbook. So once we do, right, see this is a GitHub where we create a project, we check in, we pull the code. This all will do. This all is a part of this activity. So when you're learning these things right here, when we are learning all these things, we do the GitHub activity as well. This part here we do, right, using this we'll build a full scale front end application. Here we will be learning Git as well.
And that GitHub code will be deployed in AWS environment, the application that whatever you are building at the end of the session.
Yes. So we will be using
AWS.
Nginx here. Using Nginx. How we will deploy? Will show. How can we deploy here?
So sorry, I just wanted to understand. Once you build the code, you will deploy, you will create the image using the Docker, and then that
We'll,
Docker image.
we will be showing you how do you do manually and even how can you do it using Docker.
Mhm.
Okay, both. How
And
easy to use will be showing you.
and finally, you will deploy that application. I mean, you will map that GitHub repository by adding the environment variable to AWS account, and that application finally will be hosted in AWS only, right?
We will tell you because I will just showcase how it is done. Okay,
Okay.
because to be linked, you need to understand Jenkins and CI/CD pipelines. So using Jenkins only, you can do that. So that's a part of a
Okay.
DevOps role. What we'll be doing is how you can do it by using Git to take the code pull and push, that will be showing. Build and push. How do you do? We'll do. We'll be showing that. How do you
Okay.
deploy?
Yeah.
Before going to the advanced level, right? Advanced level means doing all the automation stuff. You need to have a knowledge of the manual stuff as well, right? So when you're familiar
Yes.
with doing manually, right, then automation becomes very easy.
Okay. Basically, in Python full stack, we are using creating the APIs only. We are using the Flask, right? Other than the basic Python, we are
Yes.
using Python
Flask.
Advanced to create
Yeah.
the APIs for the particular application.
Yes. No, Python Advanced is used for a lot of things, not just API. I said right here, I have mentioned a few things. You learn advanced Python, you can work on data science, data analytics, big data, networking programs on the back end, and using these concepts are used for AI. You need to know, right? If you want to work on AI, you need to know basics of Python, algorithms if you want to write. So all these things like how do you parse XML, JSON, multi-threadings, all these concepts, if you know, right, it will be easy for you to crack the AI work as well. Because you need to write algorithms means you need to have the core knowledge. So most of the algorithms, if you take AI, they are written in Python. I write AI ML. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Generally, if you take right AI, if you take it's a very, it's generally AI, we say it's a machine learning skills, all the things, right? So Python generally, basically I said that pandas, numpy, all those things are AI relies on those data, and Python makes the data manipulation very easy. So AI is nothing but it needs data, right? Artificial intelligence works mostly based on the data. So which provides data more easily is the Python. So you use Python pandas, nothing but for structuring data operations. NumPy is nothing but fast numerical operations on larger data sets. You have some other things for visualization data like matplotlib, seaborn, all these things. You use it. AI uses the data which Python provides. You got right? So there are a lot of AI applications, they are built with Python. For example, chatbots, NLP, all those things, right? They are built on AI using Python only. Image recognition, predictive analysis, speech recognitions, autonomous system, all these things, right? They are built on using Python only. And many Python provides, sorry, it powers many real-time web applications, AI applications. So why Python is, it's advanced. Why? Because it's simple. It is a powerful library. It can handle and process data efficiently. Prototype ideas are very quick. Integrating AI into the application is easy. Okay. It has a very large community as well. So Java and Python both are a different flavors. So banking applications, if you take where you have a lot of transactions and money related, right? Still many companies prefer Java. Python, you're learning, it's an advantage for you if you're not able to go like a Python full stack developer. Just as a Python developer, you can go get a job in the AI ML or the, I said right, data analytics, data science. In these fields, you can go. That provides you, Python provides you that leverage. Hope I'm clear, everyone. Okay, guys, it's nice talking to you. Thanks.